So you want to be taken seriously, huh? You want to have opinions, platforms, podcast microphones, maybe even a little TikTok theology on the side. But before you go opening that pretty little mouth again, let me ask you one thing. Are you contradicting yourself? Because if you are, this video is your intervention. I'm talking about the two ancient, savage, uncancelable laws of logic that built every civilization worth a damn, the law of non-contradiction. The law of the excluded middle. And no, they're not optional. Welcome to logic, not therapy. Let's start with the basics, which, funnily enough, most people skip. That's how we ended up in a timeline where people proudly say things like, I'm anti-capitalist, but I'm also building a brand. I don't believe in gender, but misgendering me is violence. Everyone's truth is valid, except your truth because it offends me. You're not edgy, you're incoherent. Enter. The law of non-contradiction. Straight out of ancient Greece and still undefeated. A thing cannot both be and not be at the same time and in the same respect. Aristotle, Metaphysics translation. You can't be two opposite things in the same breath. That's not nuance. That's a contradiction. You can't say, I'm free and I'm oppressed by my own agency in the same tweet. You can't say, all speech is violence, and then turn around and say, silencing people is tyranny. If you're living in that contradiction, you're not profound, you're malfunctioning. There is no maybe, the excluded middle. Now meet the second law, the law of the excluded middle. This one's even more brutal. It says, for any given proposition, it's either true or false. There's no third option. Let me say it loud for the relativist in the back. It's either raining or it's not. Pick one. You either believe X or you don't. Stop dancing. There is no kinda sorta truth. There is no metaphysical-ish. Logic doesn't take sugar in its tea, darling. Now, of course, some things are ambiguous. Some questions are nuanced. But the law only applies to clear propositional statements, not vibes, not poetry, not your Instagram astrology graph that says you're a complex empathic shark with moon rage. We're talking. Is murder wrong? Yes or no? Did you cheat on your partner? Don't, it's complicated us to death. Does 2 + 2 = 4? If you say it depends, I'm calling the old bill, and here's the tea. These two laws work together. Non-contradiction says don't hold two opposing truths at once. Excluded middle says you can't dodge by inventing a magical middle zone. You can't be both, you can't be neither. Pick one. Contradiction is the new aesthetic. You'd think these were just ancient logic laws that we all accepted and moved on. But nah, this generation, we romanticize contradiction like it's a personality type. We've got spiritual atheists who don't believe in anything but charged crystals with moonlight, anarchists who scream abolish all hierarchy while running influencer tiers on Patreon, radical free thinkers who repeat the same 5 TikTok approved mantras and block you if you disagree. Modern contradiction isn't ignorance, it's curated. We are out here aestheticizing incoherence like it's a lifestyle brand, because real beliefs mean you might have to draw a line, and drawing a line means you might lose followers. So instead, we worship ambiguity. We build identities out of contradiction and call it fluidity, not in a queer sense, in a cop-out sense. Don't put me in a box, they say, while building a whole box-shaped brand about not being in a box. Get serious. Why contradiction feels good? Here's the psychological bit. Contradiction feels good because it lets you have your cake and blame the baker. You can say one thing, do another, and then call yourself layered when caught. It's emotional outsourcing. It's a life without consequences. You don't have to clarify, don't have to choose, don't have to be accountable to anything consistent. Contradiction is the last refuge of people who want power without principle. Consistency requires courage. Contradiction lets you dodge, but there's a cost, trust. When words don't add up, people stop listening. When your ethics wobble with your moods, people stop trusting. When you build a worldview on contradictions, the whole thing collapses the first time reality checks you. When logic gets inconvenient, let's be real. Most contradictions in 2025 aren't the result of stupidity. They're strategic. Example, a politician says, "We need open dialogue," while censoring dissent. A social media company says, "We believe in free speech," while banning satire. A university says, "We welcome all viewpoints," while refusing to platform any one right of Mao. These aren't mistakes, they're tactical contradictions, because the people in charge know if you can get the public to accept contradictions, you can get them to accept anything. If truth and falsehood are just vibes, if freedom can include forced silence, then language becomes meaningless and power speaks through confusion. How to spot a contradiction in the wild. Let's make this practical. Here's how to spot a live contradiction. Step 1. Find two claims made by the same person or system. Step 2. Ask, if A is true, can B still be true in the same context? Step 3. If not, it's a contradiction. Examples. All cultures are equal, and Western culture is uniquely evil. Words are violence, and silencing people is freedom. Use the non-contradiction test, like a compass. If a worldview can't pass it, it's not real, it's cosplay with a thesaurus. The false middle, why neutrality, is a lie. We need to talk about the middle, the fake one. A lot of people today live in a moral panic about taking sides. So they hide behind nuance, objectivity, neutrality, but neutrality doesn't always exist. Sometimes refusing to pick a side is a side. If you see someone being harmed and you say, well, it's complex, you're siding with the abuser. The law of the excluded middle demands that some things require a binary. Either something happened or it didn't. Either someone is lying or they're not. You can't both sides your way out of responsibility. This is why truth, at its core, is violent to ambiguity. It cuts, it excludes, it hurts people's feelings. But you know what hurts more? Living in a world where nothing means anything? Logic doesn't care about your identity. Here's where people start sweating. But what if I'm insert marginalized group? But what if I've had trauma? But what if it's my truth? Listen, logic does not care. It doesn't care about your pronouns, your star sign, your trauma, your passport, your mental health diagnosis, your Instagram following, or your artistic intention. Logic is like gravity. It works the same no matter who you are. You can't logic shame it into submission. You can't cancel it. You can't ask it to center your lived experience. It doesn't even hear you. Logic is deaf. Logic is blind. Logic is beautifully indifferent, which is exactly why it's powerful when logic saves lives. Let me show you what happens when we do follow the laws. Doctors follow non-contradiction when diagnosing symptoms. You can't have two incompatible diseases. You can't be allergic to penicillin and not allergic to penicillin at the same time. Engineers use the excluded middle when building bridges. Either the structure holds or it doesn't. You don't want sort of stable. Pilots, lawyers, cybersecurity analysts, rocket scientists, they all trust these laws like religion. Because in the real world, contradiction isn't cute. It kills. But in the public discourse, in media, politics, and campus culture, contradiction is monetized, ambiguity is weaponized. Truth is just an accessory for your brand. So what do? We become dangerous again. We reclaim the power of logic like it's a damn sword. We build minds so consistent, so grounded in reality, that people can't gaslight us out of our own thoughts. Start here. Stop accepting contradictions as complexity. Stop tolerating doublethink just because it's wrapped in empathy. Stop letting people shame you for being binary in a world that demands clarity. You either believe in truth or you don't. You either stand for something or you fall for every beautifully worded contradiction thrown your way. If this slapped you across the brain, good. Like, comment, and share with someone who's been dodging the truth like it owes them money. This was episode 1 of Non-Negotiable, where we don't care about your vibes unless they make logical sense. Next episode, the death of definition, how postmodern language is killing meaning. Until then, remember, you can't be both. You can't be neither. Logic doesn't care about your feelings, and that's what makes it fair. Not right, not left, just real.